Oh boy, guys, you got to check this out. There was a topless protester charging at Bill Cosby with, all these things written and smeared over her body that says Black Lives Matter and, Cosby's a rapist. And, this was right next to him, and they tackled her into the bushes. I really want your opinions on this, guys. Do you think they should have literally tackled her into the bushes? Do you think this was the best way to handle the situation? Obviously, it's, part of the Me Too movement, which is incredibly important. I just don't know if that was the best way to handle it. And now, of course, they're delaying the trial because of, what happened. And Bill Cosby is, going to court to, face his accuser again. He's in his 80s. He's partially blind. They have to hold him when he walks. Do you think he's too old to be held accountable any longer? This is one of the people who are trying to deal with the security and making sure there's more security to protect everybody at hand. I'm very curious to get your opinion about this, guys, and I want to comment about this because I knew Bill Cosby. I went to school with the Cosby kids, as they were known, so I'm curious to talk to you about that in a second. What's up, guys? This is comic book artist, writer, and director GRAIG WEICH from BeyondComics.tv, talking about a very uncomfortable and serious topic, of course, which is the Me Too movement and the Bill Cosby case and what's been going on. And it's very disturbing and upsetting. Before I even comment on the protester and his trial and everything that's going on, I greatly want your feedback and your comments about this, because when I was a little boy, I went to school with a lot of the kids who were in the Cosby Show. And one of my friends, Dion, he played Bud. If you remember Bud, Rudy's boyfriend in the show, who was like a little boy. And we went to school together when we were kids in high school. And, I went to the Cosby Show when I was a little boy, and I was there on the last episode, and I met, Bill Cosby, and he was incredibly friendly and incredibly nice, and it was so disturbing to hear the accusations and that some women really suffered, and oh God, it's just sickening to think about. It's weird also as a man to hear this whole thing about drugging another person and then being able to get that down there to work when someone's asleep. How? That's weird to me. Like, kind of the thing as a man that turns me on is when a girl is excited and she's participating. You know what I'm saying? Like, to see the girl's happy reaction, it's kind of the thing that I kind of, men I believe live for. So it's strange to me to think that he could like intentionally drug somebody and make them unconscious and then have his way with them. How do you get the thing down there to work? I mean, because it's all mental, right? So it's like the thing that turns that physically on is, again, like I said before, when I am, seeing the connection, the chemistry, the feeling that I'm getting from a female who's into me, that I'm into, right? That there's that back and forth, that connectivity, you know what I'm saying? So I don't understand. I don't understand how his mind works, unless maybe because he was such a famous celebrity that, like, maybe he didn't want to deal with, like, fans or girls who were stalking him or something. And I really don't get it, to be honest with you. If anybody can explain this to me, I just don't. Maybe it's a good thing that I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's a good thing. But, I understand in talking to a lot of the cast who was on the show about this and things like that. Some of them had suggested that there's like a 50-50 split, that some of the girls, unfortunately, he really seemed to really do those things to. And then there's other ones who just want to get money or extort money from him, because I get there was like I think a few of the girls were in actual like relationships with him. And then they accused him of it and admitted that they were in relationships with him too, which is like kind of confusing. So, I guess they thought that maybe those were the ones that were trying to extort money from him or whatever they were doing. But unfortunately, there really seems to be a lot of legitimate girls who suffered and who did not ask for that and who were just knocked out by, I guess, the drugs that, he gave them, which is just really horrible. Sorry, it gets me upset to think about that because it's like creepy, it's just weird and stuff. I just feel for a lot of the victims and stuff like that. But, You know, my question though is, because Bill Cosby is in his 80s, he's partially blind, he needs help walking, is the best way, especially now that like his name has been, you know, completely smeared all over, you know, and his legacy is ruined. It's all done by his own doing, right? But again, because of all of that, in his 80s, he's no longer a threat to anybody. So maybe the best thing to do is just to have him do tons of community service, donate tons of money to help, you know, tons of children and, you know, people in need, and you know, just to do something good with what's happened, and utilize his resources to help others, versus just to kind of punish and beat down this old man who I kind of feel life beat down already. Like, his legacy's ruined, he's partially blind, you know, he needs help walking, he's elderly. It's like he's, you know, karma or life or whatever you want to say took care of him that way and knocked him down. So do we really need to, like, you know, spend taxpayer money to constantly put him in court and to keep doing it? I mean, maybe the answer is yes. You know, maybe the women who are the victims need to really seek that vindication. You know, I don't know. I mean, I'd really like your opinions, guys. Do you think, if he was younger, I would say absolutely. But because he's so messed up and partially blind and old and stuff, it's kind of like taking an old withered guy and just, you know, beating the hell out of him, you know. And this happened, what is this, like 30, 40, 50 years after the fact. It's not like he just did it. This is like they're exacting revenge decades and decades after the incident. And really just, I guess it's not even revenge as much as it is like I guess trying to get their due justice, right? I mean, these women have carried this stuff for a long time, so I really, really feel bad for them. Like, it's terrible, you know? But again, I just keep thinking, isn't there a better way to do this? Does it need to be public and smearing a person? I just think they should kind of, they made the announcement, his reputation is wrecked, he's gotten his, you know, punishment that way. You know, people picket and boo him, and there's signs against him everywhere. You know, I mean, what a terrible way to have to finish your life out with that kind of, you know, backlash. And he did it to himself. It's just sad. So I kind of feel like there's your vindication. You know what I mean? It doesn't heal those women. It doesn't make what he did any less horrible. But let's attack him in a way that makes him utilize his money to help many people. Like, for example, a lot of people, you know, before all this stuff came out, a lot of people were like saying how Bill Cosby and the Cosby Show is actually the thing that helped get Obama elected. And whether or not you like Obama or dislike Obama, whatever, it's just an amazing accomplishment to get an African American into the presidency finally. Whatever you believe, if you are totally Democrat or totally a Republican or independent, it doesn't even matter. Just the fact that we broke the pattern of always having, you know, the same type of person in office. This is very important. This opens the doors up, and it's in the right direction of getting equality for people and hopefully reducing a lot of the terrible prejudice and racism and all that crap. I mean, it doesn't fix it by any means, but at least it's a step in the right direction. So, you know, again, whether you're Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. The fact that Obama actually was elected, to me, is a representation of the nation coming together and saying, hey, we really want to show respect here, and we really want there to be a difference. You know, of course, fast forwarding now to Trump, you know, there's a lot of obvious problems where, you know, both Republicans and Democrats are kind of, you know, freaking out that this reality TV star is now running the country. But that's another topic for another time. But I knew he was going to win just because people are growing up with the reality TV show mentality, and they're familiar with him. They're familiar with people who are in reality television. So I think that got a lot of the vote, and because a lot of people were not happy with a lot of the problems and things that Hillary was doing, they didn't vote. So if you actually check, you'll see that a lot of the people that actually voted for Obama did not vote. It was like 1/3 just didn't vote at all. that's kind of how I think Trump finally got in, because the other people didn't come out because they weren't thrilled with Hillary either, which is a shame. You know, so I thought Sanders, Bernie Sanders, you know, despite all the issues, I still think he would have been like a for the people kind of president. That's just my personal take on it, though. I don't know what you guys think, so don't kill me for it. I know we're not supposed to talk about these topics and stuff, and if you didn't want Sanders, that's cool. It's all right. You know, I'm very interested in hearing other people's opinion, and I'm very open to that. So, you know, I'm don't flip out or whatever, you know. Don't be like, F you, Greg Weich, for saying Sanders or whatever. I just thought Sanders was cool. He was fun. He was nice, you know. Anyway, but again, back to this, you know, serious topic, guys. Please post your comments below. Please subscribe for updates so I could do a follow-up video on this, and potentially, if you guys want, you know, kind of continue the conversation. Also, if you haven't seen it, check out my video on Eugenia Cooney. She's this terribly anorexic girl that has millions of followers on her social media, like millions and millions and millions. It's unbelievable. And you know, she just, I don't know what to say. Like, she's, by the way, sorry, what is this? Like a shadow? There's like some weird, it's not my hair. That's like a shadow. It's so strange. Okay, sorry, I just noticed that. Anyway, but again, check out that video, because she has millions of followers, and girls who are in their teens are saying how they want to be thin like her, and she's skeletal, like, I mean, emaciated. It's horrifying. And nobody's doing anything to help her. It's really scary, and she doesn't know that she needs help. I think she has a serious disorder and needs to get help to see it, and no one's helping her. Not her mother, not her agent, not her manager, nothing. So check out that other video. Again, subscribe for updates, post your comments below. And finally, do you think that the protester in the Bill Cosby case that just happened, that I'm just going back to that quickly, that was the best way she could have handled it? Because I felt like she definitely got attention. You know, it's kind of, but it's aggressive to like jump the gate and like jump and like attack Cosby like directly. She was going after him, you know. I don't know if you could see it from that earlier footage, but she was like a few feet away from him until they tackled her into the bushes. And also, do you think the police needed to tackle her into the bushes? She's topless. She's naked. Her arm is up. She has no weapons, right? So how about just, you know, grabbing her by the shoulders or the wrist or something and just, you know, holding her there and saying, okay, miss, you made your statement. Now we have to, you know, take you away, and you know, you can't, you know, have the disorderly conduct and, you know, run around like attacking Bill Cosby here, where that's what the court's for. You know, couldn't they have handled it a little bit more like that versus, you know, that big cop tossing her into the bushes? I thought that was a bit extreme. But again, you know, give me your opinion. You know, maybe you guys disagree with that. Maybe you think she should have been pushed in there. I don't know. It's just an all-around sad kind of thing. And look, good for her for trying to state her opinion. I just don't think it was done in the best way possible. You know what I mean? You guys think she was being brave or foolish, or, you know, what's your take? I think all in all, it really comes down to one thing and one thing only, and that is we need to support people who have been unheard and make them feel comfortable about stepping forward. The damn problem is when they're like opportunists who pretend something happened and they jump on the bandwagon, or they, you know, of real victims. That's horrible. And I know of cases like that. I know of very, very immoral, angry people who said, hey, I'm going to accuse, you know, so-and-so of this, that, and the other because I'm going to get his money. It's terrible, because they're belittling the urgency and importance of the real victims who actually were attacked. And that's very important. So I just, it's really frustrating. You know, it's such a hard topic to talk about, but it's like incredibly frustrating because, you know, every time there's a person who comes out who's not telling the truth, who's trying to shame somebody to get money from them, or extortion in that regard, or get fame, get on TV so that, you know, they can be seen and all that kind of stuff, you know, and accusing an innocent person of doing something that they haven't done, that's so immoral. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there like that. And those people, like I said before, belittle the reality of the real victims. That's why those people should never, ever, ever lie or accuse people of that stuff, because it belittles the importance of the real victims and then makes it harder for the public to believe the real victims because of the fake ones who are just trying to get, you know, television exposure, or, you know, either exposure or you know, money or whatever they're trying to do. So it's a very, oh God, it's horrible. And then there's some like very innocent people, like innocent men who never did anything, you know, and the women are like attacking these poor innocent guys. Those are like good people, good men, the few good men left, as they say, right? You know, so it's like, you know, that's a mess. So it's such a confusing kind of, you know, time and stuff. But the reality is that we're finally reaching a point where, you know, people are standing up for themselves, and hopefully they're stable, honest, authentic, good-hearted people who just want justice, and not the other kinds who just want TV or money, exposure, or, you know, those gold diggers or things like that, as you've heard stories of, I'm sure. It's a very kind of upsetting thing. But again, if anyone was ever hurt, and I do know personally a few girls who unfortunately, oh, it's horrible. I won't say anything about their stuff because they didn't want it said. It's private, but it's heart-wrenching, and the feeling of helplessness that they went through, and the I can't even talk about it. It's awful. So you know, again, it's very important to show support. You know, one girl, I'll just say anonymously, you know, she went to her parents, and her parents didn't believe her. And they were taking the side of, you know, the attacker because it was a family member. God, terrible, terrible. Just a tragic kind of thing. I mean, look, my father was a psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, and always tried to help victims and help people. And he was wonderful. He was like a wonderful man. And you know, it's just it's sad when people have to go through those kind of unnecessary hardships, because life is hard enough as it is. But anyway, guys, post your comments below. Please subscribe for updates and let me know your thoughts and your opinions. And again, just to recap, number one, do you think the protester was right? Number two, do you think she handled it in the right way? Number three, do you think the police officers were too rough on her? And number four, what do you guys think should happen with Bill Cosby? Do you agree that maybe instead of, you know, putting him through the whole court system and try to put him in jail when he's in his 80s, partially blind and, you know, messed up and everything like that, that it would be better just to utilize having him spend money to help, you know, charities and communities and people and things like that? I mean, he's done a lot of that on his own anyway, but, you know, here's an opportunity to really, you know, take a horrible negative and turn it into utilizing something that can be positive to help others now, by, you know, taking some of the money and having him donate to, you know, help people. You know, maybe that's the thing to do. Also, do you think society is too punishing, too much on the hate, too much on the let's get this person, let's, you know, bring the, you know, the pitchforks and start to attack all the innocent people and the guilty people and just wreck everybody? You know what I mean? Or do you think that, you know, we should kind of take it down a notch and kind of just address these issues a little bit more one-on-one? And what I mean by that is, do you think instead of publicly smearing somebody, where, I mean, you know, they can't walk anywhere without, you know, having people like, I mean, like Bill Cosby is literally, his life is threatened by people. Like, there's some people who are threatening to kill him constantly. And I know some of you out there might be like, good, kill him, blah, blah, blah. But I'm kind of thinking like, you know, can we just kind of punish him in a way that is not killing him, but like I said before, you know, having him use his wealth to help many, many, many victims and many, 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 many people. You see what I'm saying? You know, again, that's if he's proven guilty, though it kind of seems like he is from the amount of people that have come forward, obviously. I don't know, I just feel like people are getting off too much on hating these days. There's so many haters and so many negative reviews about movies and about everything. Everyone's just hating to hate and hate and hate. You know, so kind of can we just target it, say, hey, look, it was horrible, it was wrong, here's what you need to do to fix it. Now let's close it and move on and start focusing on, you know, bigger issues that affect society as a whole, with regards to passing new bills and things that could help, you know, regulate the protection of people and health insurance and stuff that kind of affects everybody, versus, you know, focusing in on this kind of these cases that relate very strongly to the victims and to the people who were involved in the case, but it's kind of taking away focus from making sure we don't get into World War III. You know what I'm saying? With what's going on with, you know, North Korea and Trump and everything like that. I mean, Jesus, there's some incredibly pressing issues that I think we should be focusing on equally. You know, so I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like the news or whatever makes tragedy like the Me Too movement almost as an entertainment kind of thing, which is sick. You know, this is a very serious issue, and it needs to be addressed in a serious way and needs to be targeted. And we don't want the craziness of hatred and the craziness of, you know, picketing and trying to kill Bill Cosby. Let's just, you know, I don't even think that at 80 years old, jail makes sense anymore. You know, maybe if he was even like 60 or 55, but 80 something years old and partially blind and he can't even walk, just take his money and use it to help people. You know what I'm saying? Let's actually help current victims, people who are suffering right now. That's my 2 cents, guys. I don't know. I mean, you know, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking, but I'm very open to hearing your opinion, and I'm very flexible, and I am very interested to hear your comments. So let's try to be constructive and think of positive ways, and I'm hoping that this sends a message to people to don't ever do that. And if they have thoughts like they want to do creepy stuff and put drugs in people's drinks and knock them unconscious to do stuff to them, please, for God's sakes, if you have those thoughts, seek psychiatric help. That's not normal. Okay? I'm just telling you straightforward, it's not okay. It's not normal. So if you happen to be somebody out there who gets off on that, you know, please just seek help. I'm not criticizing, I'm not saying anything bad, I'm just saying get help and don't ever let yourself do that, okay? Again, guys, you know, thank you for listening. I know I went on a bit long here, but, you know, please post your comments below. Make sure to subscribe for updates, and to be continued. This is Greg Weich, comic book artist and writer and director. These are my characters, Ray Bedactyl, codename Justice. I forgot to mention who they are. I've just been so into this topic and everything that's been going on. And thanks for watching, guys. Take care. God bless.